This video is for entertainment purposes only.
Resulted in something unusual. Now, because these bees are so successful and because they're so widespread, in certain locations, especially in Central America, they basically faced a lot of competition. In other words, there were just too many colonies, with way too many bees competing for a small number of nectarine plants. And so a few million years ago, something started happening to three species in very specific locations around the world. They started to use their strength, their mandibles, for something entirely different. They basically started to consume meat.
Bees. That hive was made of flesh. Meet the vulture bee. It's a stingless bee that's found in South America.
If you get dropped far enough into the jungle, you're dead.
What's killing you first?
You'll get lost. You get turned around in the Amazon. Everything looks the same. It's not like here where you have big trees and small trees and landmarks. In the Amazon, everything looks the same. And everything wants to eat you in there. I mean, even the bees are carnivorous in the Amazon.
What?
The bees were one of the worst torments for me. And I enjoyed being in the Amazon, by the way.
Yeah.
I was there by choice. But mosquitoes were always a nuisance. The bees were worse because I would have like an open wound on my arm. And during the day, bees come. And the bees will land on your arm. And there are these little bees. And they will yank at your flesh. Like they'll bite off a piece and yank it off.
What?
So you constantly have bees pulling little pieces of your open wound away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was, and they also sting you, but the sting isn't really bad. They're like miniature.
Yeah, but when they're eating your flesh off, that sounds.
Bees. That hive was made of flesh. Meet the vulture bee. It's a stingless bee that's found in South America. And like most bees, they build beehives and make honey. The only difference is their honey is not made from nectar because they're not vegetarian. They feed primarily on the flesh of dead animals, which makes them the only non-vegetarian bee in the world. But what's crazy, it's actually called meat honey. I didn't think there was a food that I never want to try so bad. Oh, and these bees are extremely aggressive. They're stingless, but as we now know, they could bite through meat. So yes, they will swarm you, bite you, and turn you into honey. Moral of the story, if you ever see a beehive that looks like this, trust me, you don't want that honey.
And these three species are known as vulture bees. Their genus is technically known as Trigona. And so here we have these three bizarre species that all essentially evolved to consume flesh instead of consuming flowers. And though some of them still actually go to flowers sometimes, at least one of the species seems to mostly consume flesh.
This has been a Pinguinati production. If you'd like to support the channel, links are in the description.